I love the headlines coming out that the Doge army left Washington office littered with drugs and cockroaches. So apparently in their retreat from one of the buildings that they had forcibly occupied, there's beer cans, cockroaches, rodents. They've destroyed it like a frat house gone wild.
Yeah, it was the U.S. Institute of Peace. And earlier this year, they basically shoved all of the employees out. Don't even take your laptop because we have to go through all this. So they occupied the building for a couple months. The Doge little weirdos and incels, this was their base of operations. And when these employees finally were able to come back, it was like a bomb had gone off. Cockroaches everywhere, other forms of roaches all over the place. Like you said, beer cans. They had taken the laptops and had kind of stacked them to where they're almost falling over, not caring about any of the equipment. There was damage to desks, damage to walls. They were having, there's no other way to assume this. They were having parties in this government building. These young teenagers, aged 19 to 22, I think they are. And this is beyond disgusting. This should be a bigger story. This is Doge's legacy, not the, maybe $8 billion they saved from the budget once it was all done. The disgusting behavior of these people, not just with what they did to the building, but what they did to these federal workers, mocking them, forcing them out, going through their personal information. This is what Doge was all about from day one.
Well, and this was obviously all part of a land grab, by the way. The reason they targeted this specific agency so early on is the reporting is coming out that they wanted the $500 million building so they could transfer it back to the federal government, and that would be counted as part of their savings.
Yeah, because this group, the U.S. Institute for Peace, is technically funded by Congress. However, it's also an independent body. Yes, it's federal government, but it's also oddly classified to where it's kind of not. So the building was theirs. So by giving it back to themselves, even though they were already paying it, Doge said, no, this is now savings, but we still have to pay. The whole thing is confusing because that's what they did. They tried to confuse people with, as George W. Bush said way back in the day, fuzzy math. So there's no real savings to speak of. It's just we're transferring the payment from this piece of paper to this one so it looks like it's no longer over here. It's, a sleight of hand trick, if you will.
Well, and this agency is not some liberal legacy product. This was created by Reaganism, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting that it was targeted, and then when the investigation started, it was to acquire this real estate and do some fuzzy math, as you say. But they destroyed it. There's graffiti, there were missing ceiling tiles like we're talking about the beer and the cockroaches and the nastiness, just the nastiness of these people. And then when they were finally evicted themselves, like the germs that they are, they left it in almost ruin.
Yeah, look, I was a college guy. We actually lived right down the street from a frat house, and it was never clean, but I can promise you, based on the descriptions I've read here, it was never in the state that these people left that U.S. Institute for Peace office in.
Unfortunately, they've had access to a lot of government buildings, and I think it's a good metaphor for what they've done throughout the government.